We live, we live, we What's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? What we got for snowfall totals? How we doing for snowfall totals? Take a look at radar. Boy, did we make out well. We made out well with this one. I told y'all. These kind of events, these warm air advection events where you can just, man, you can sit right on the other side of that mix line and you can make out super well. You can make out super well with these events. And that's kind of what happened. We got that precip to break out just exactly how we needed it to. We got that precip. Right? So we had this cold air. We had this cold air locked into place. You know, before this event was getting here. We had cold air locked into place. Maybe besides the coast. We had the cold air locked in. And we just needed the precip to get into this cold air. And that's exactly what happened. The problem was always going to be from around 700 to 925. That was our warm layer, and it proved at the surface we're still cold enough, plenty cold enough to snow at the surface. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to be able. We weren't able to back those up. Stay cold. You know, we take a look at the sounding here. Oh, nope. Let's take a look at the sounding. Slide over the HRR. HRR overcorrected too much with the cold line. It did its best for a little while. I mean, it was just wrong. It was kind of just wrong the whole time. And eventually it got it right. Just a bit too late. Take a look here. This is HRR from 10 o'clock. This is a little bit what dynamic cooling looks like. Zoom in here. Notice this is our freezing line, and we're getting this to come almost right against it. And then what wants to happen is it wants to cross over right here and then come back to the surface. That's what the event wants it as. But under these heavier bands, we're able to slide this. We're able to slide this just enough behind that freezing line where maybe we're not getting the best snow growth, but we're getting some. We're really, what's up, John? We're really saturated. Notice how well saturated we are through the atmosphere here. Super well saturated, all the way down through. Notice our wet pull. Notice our dew point right against our temperature line. And we're sitting around 32 degrees. Well saturated all the way down to the surface. I mean, even through the upper levels of the atmosphere, super well saturated. And I think that's why we were able to get the snow growth we still did, despite being so close to the freezing line. You know, this is what happens under dynamic cooling. We're able to cool the column enough where we work in these heavier rates. Oh boy, Bart, what again? Your snow? That's what I'm talking about. But notice earlier in the day what the HRR was trying to do, even in the afternoon runs. It was cold. It was a little not quite exactly how it happened. I mean, I guess it was better. It was better in the afternoon than it was, heck, before that. Take a look. I think it was around here. I mean, damn, man, that still wasn't bad. It did okay. The HRR was by far the best. It was by far the best out of any of the Mezzo models. By far. Even going back to last night, it was by far the best. Now, did it suck a little bit? It took until today to pick up on this. We don't want to go to that color. It took until today for it to pick up on our heavier precip here. Nope. I actually just posted a video not too long ago. I switched to sleet about an hour ago, and we were kind of light, and I'm sure we're kind of a sleet fest now. So we'll go from sleet to freezing rain, and then to rain probably within the next few hours. So I'm hoping we can get some sleet accumulations before the rain comes through, because the rain's going to wash everything regardless. So why not boost the snowfall total a little bit? But HR was struggling here. You notice how on those runs last night I was showing you guys how much more it was chasing this convection. It still is a little bit inverted, which makes a little bit of sense. A little bit inversion some of these isobars, still a lot, which in reality is possible, but it's just I don't think it's as evident. You know, the convection can disperse a little bit like this, but I don't think the isobars chase it as much. I think it's just one large area of low pressure, and our strongest area of low pressure is right here. This was a little bit earlier tonight, I think. No, this is right about now. It's pretty close, about an hour ago. But it was chasing some of this convection, and the convection was sliding off instead of consolidating up into this band here. We're not back in the flow, but it's not. It just wasn't consolidating, I think, to the extent. Even it's not this part consolidating. It's just that this not completely heading out. This is where this moisture is coming from, and it's just getting it to consolidate more this way instead of it just sliding out way to the east, which I didn't think was realistic. I've seen enough of these to now. I haven't seen a ton in my lifetime. I'm not that old yet with this stuff, but I've seen enough of these now to get an idea of how this works. Typically, we don't see massive inverted isobars with most systems. Most systems are not inverted troughs. And this was definitely not trying to chase the convection. And you can see here it's made a massive correction. Even though this was like a run like from 5 hours ago or whatever, or 6-7 hours ago, you can see it made the correction, and then finally HR adjusted with the sleet line here. Finally adjusted. HR has been a little bit behind on some of the real term stuff, but HRR. Listen, I wish we had 500 millibars, but I can't complain with the HRR. The HRR, the new HRR extended. That's a W. This is a W for the HRR. No doubt. NAM, massive L for the NAM here. Did not do well. I saw it struggle with that warm air advection event last year, back in January, that mid-January snowstorm where Buffalo got like 2 feet of snow. That one, I'm sure y'all remember that one. It started off looking like a New England special, and it turned into a upstate New York special. It really was more a Canada special, to be honest. But NAM struggled with that one too, because that cold air, same thing, locked into these these spots, and these places picked up. Even here it was only like, I think 2 to 3 inches. Some of these places picked up 3.5, 4 inches. I remember in that event, and kind of something this similar thing happened. I mean, these locations made it a little bit better. We're going to see not that far extent, but these locations right here are probably going to, relative to southern New England, this might be your jackpot spot right here. a lot of these spots made out really well where they made out into the heaviest precip for long enough. And also, I mean, the Berks we're probably going to see. There'll be probably some 3-4 inch totals in the Berks. So there'll probably be a couple that come out. Oh, they did not stay in the precip, the heaviest precip, for as long as they could have. What's up, YouTube gang? How's it going? How's it going? Uh, I mean, New York. It depends on where you are. New York's a large state, so it's snowing. It's snowing around. To take a look here at radar. I want to get back. Um, Even though this is higher res, I can switch back. You can kind of see where we are. Notice how much more. Notice this convection is not. I mean, we don't have radar, but this convection is not being pulled out to the side. It never was. Look how much more consolidated are with our moisture. Look how much more. This is going to move through. Same with this. We are so much more consolidated with our moisture. What happened was we took a little bit more time to consolidate. I mean, technically we flattened out the precip a little bit so we could push out this we talked about in the beginning into the cold air. Into the cold air long enough. We came a little bit earlier with this precip than expected, so we'd sit into the cold air for longer. We only had a certain amount of time that we can make out with the in terms of how long we were going to be able to sit for snow compared to eating that freezing rain that came through. And that's why oh my god, I can't this is awful. Nope. Just no. Never want to hear that song again. Well ahead of schedule. Well, it's not like well ahead of schedule. It's just relative to what models were forecasting. They just did. They struggled a little bit with this one in terms of how much the precip was going to be able to extend out into the cold air. We got a little bit of what we needed to. I'd have to go back and look. We probably elongated this vort a little bit longer, and we were able to. NAM struggled big time. It might have yesterday. I think yesterday had like an inconsistent one or two good runs, but NAM today was awful. NAM was awful today. NAM was not good. NAM was not good. It never. I mean, the latest 0Z run still didn't get it right. NAM said the mix line never made it past here, and they didn't even have it. It was like an hour of snow for these spots, and that's just not what happened. It's not even close to what happened. So NAM took a big L today. But I mean, now you can kind of see our band. You see our band here. This is our F-Gen band right here. We had that initial band push through here, and that's where these places cashed out. And if we were staying all snow, if we had a little bit more cold air locked in, it would have been 3 to 5 inches. It would have been like 3 inches for people. That will be for these folks up here. I think we'll get like 3 to 5 inches. At least that's what I put them in. They probably had a little bit better ratios as well. But this will slide up. And then we'll see these areas. These areas here will be locked in for a good 4 to 8, 6 to 12 probably. And then this area will make out probably like 7 to 12, 8 to 12. Probably more 5 to 10-ish, like what I put on my map for these spots. pull up. Let me pull up. How did models get it so wrong? And why did models pull? Because I explained. Remember, I explained this last night, guys. I explained it where models like to chase. They like to chase convection. Imagine that I know. If we really simplify it, like imagine there's all these different areas of energy, and imagine they're like magnets. So imagine there's pockets of convection. They're kind of like magnets. And we have, imagine our initial low pressure in our energy around here. Imagine it like that. And now, as we move the pressure eastward, and we don't have full blown, even on these full blown amplified systems that we're going fully negative at the trough, but particularly on southwest flow events where we're not backing our moisture. We're not backing our moisture, southeast and northwest or east to west. Especially, it's particular in these events where we're not full blown negative tilt in the trough. It likes to chase these little convective blobs. The low pressure likes to move around. So on the models, this little L here will like to chase these little convective blobs. And what happens is it prevents vorticity from consolidating, and it pushes all of our best dynamics and moisture out to sea instead of consolidating up into here. Now, this is usually to a certain extent because some of this is still, it's not like no, none of it's going. It's all got to come into here. That's not how it works. But this is just to a certain extent. Why don't they fix the models? They try their best. It's not the model's job to get it perfectly right. The models usually will adjust. Some models don't adjust all the way up until, like, global models are not designed to pick out all these specific banding stuff. And sometimes the specific banding models they overdo it to an extent. So you got to find a nice medium ground. That's why the Euro usually does pretty well. That's why the NAM usually does decent. That's why the HRR only does so well in a few hour spurts. It happened to do pretty well with this one. But at the same time, after the beginning of the onset, remember I talked about that, it didn't do as well. Not sure how far back I can go. It only lets me go so far. But even here, you can see, notice it took us still a little while. And the reason why we were colder here is because we didn't have as strong as a band that was being forecasted. Now take a look how that's correct. This is chasing convection. It's chasing convection here. Notice these isobars invert, and there's this, it's all dry and messed up. It is ultimately not every single spot is seeing precip right now. So it's a little blotchy. It picked up on this. This is, a little dry slot right there, because remember, this is still a pretty stretched out area of vorticity. This is not just a two-part phase here. It's not as simple as that. Our southern vort is not completely out ahead in front of the system. If it was, and we slid this, like 200 miles east, then what's happening here would have happened down here. We're talking about an early season 6 to 12 inch snowstorm. That's not what's happening. But notice we were chasing this convection here. Okay, now look at the adjustment I had to make. Look how much more consolidated we are with everything that's going on. You can see it on radar as well. Obviously, right? It's not the whole area is under 30 dBz stuff. Overachiever? Technically it was an overachiever based on the expectation, but we want to take a look. Let's pull up the NWS snowfall totals. I put out a tweet earlier today saying I wanted to extend my map further south. I wanted to, but you saw how long that damn map takes to make. It takes forever to make. It takes forever to make. Um, I wasn't. It probably wouldn't have taken as long to make some of the adjustments rather than full blown new snow map, but I wasn't going to make adjustments relative. I wasn't going to make adjustments for 10, 15 miles of adjustments. And looks like it hasn't even added any of the. Oh, this is 6 a.m. You're gonna have to update this. I mean, it snowed. It snowed today. Hello, what is going on here in Michigan or Minnesota? Good lord, 33 feet. Good lord, 3 feet of snow. Oof, some good lake effect stuff right there. I want to live there. Anywhere? It's fine. I can still pull up. I mean, listen, I hate bashing on the National Weather Service. And I commented the National Weather Service is going to be perfect every time. Yeah, that's what they are, Bart. They're kind of like that. And it's our job to decipher what the salesman, out of all the information he gave us, now we have to pick out what exactly is factual and what can we apply to our forecast here. And you know what the problem is, Bart, now? No meteorologists do that because they don't want to take the heat and the blowback if they get it completely wrong because they didn't listen to the models. If people just listen to the models, anybody can do this. Anybody can put the 10-to-1 snowfall maps. Not even 10-to-1. It's obviously not 10-to-1. They always. I mean, I saw a snow map today from. It's one of the same guys every single time who. It's one of the people. He's kind of an iconic figure on Twitter, but man, it's just so frequently he puts out snow maps that make me go, why? Why do you have a job? It's super weird how they continuously just listen to the models. I mean, this was never. I mean, I get it, but there was. I mean, this was. I know dog's frustrated too about that. Dog had an opinion about that too. I mean, this was just so much farther south. I mean, I get it. If they brought this here, I wouldn't have said anything if they did that. But they should have had a 2 to 3 on here too for the Burks. They should have had a 2 to 3. Like, this event was a classic. You put a 2 to 3 here. Yeah, you slide down the 1 to 2 a little bit. I just to me it was how did you, I mean, it's easy to say looking back because I just it's a little bit of a guess obviously and this stuff, but it's frustrating sometimes, man. It's frustrating. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I feel like this was just simple meteorology. I'm not some expert here. My local National Weather Service office here in Massachusetts that was trying to predict the event. I was trying to predict the event, and they put out their snowfall map like 3 days in 2 days in advance. Is that how they usually do it? We don't need that anymore, but we can pull up the snowfall map. Let's take a look at how we did here. Mitch, 2 inches. I thought he was going to get more. Here's where I'm going to go wrong is I'm probably going to go wrong here. This is where I'm going to go wrong. This is all going to be 1 to 3, 2 to 4. There's probably not going to be a lot of 3 to 6s in here. So I'll probably go wrong with that. I should have pulled this 1 to 3 down. I should have pulled this 1 to 3 down. I should have done that. And then I would have liked to, what I wanted to do was pull this coating to 1 inch. I wanted to pull this, take out Connecticut River Valley, because they did get kind of a coating in the beginning. I wanted to pull that down and keep this. I did well with Eastern Max. I did well with them. I think a lot of folks just saw a brief little coating. Yeah, I saw the Buffalo, Bart. Yeah, Bart. Buffalo's gonna get killed. You gonna take a trip out there, Bart? They got a lot of snow out there. And I should have pulled this down here. The valleys made out better than I thought they would. Yes, the sleet, obviously the sleet went through the valleys first. Yeah, Buffalo's gonna get lake effect when this thing slides through. When the cold air slides through here over the lake, the winds are gonna come off the water, and Buffalo's gonna. I mean, it's farther back. It's farther back here, but Buffalo's gonna get hammered. I mean, this could be like 2 to 4 feet of snow for them out there. That's gonna be a big one, just based on timing and duration of how long you're gonna have vorticity sweeping through here. I don't know the exact totals. I don't know. It could be like that's just an estimate. It's just a guess. But that's, I mean, I saw like a bunch of 2-foot stuff. So I'm probably guessing there's gonna be some 2 to 4 feet stuff out there. Why the valley overperform? You know, that's a good question. That's a really good question. And I think the simple answer, we already went over it, is we got enough precip out there where it didn't matter. You know, I guess the sleet time had an ETA, regardless of how much precip we got there out in front. And we were able to get enough precipitation. We were able to get enough moisture out into this cold air. So once we had dynamic cooling and heavier rates, we had heavy rates in place the whole time. So they were able to make out pretty well across the valley. Even with the valley, I should have extended this more. That, I know that's like 10 miles, but for me, I'm such a perfectionist that I would have liked to. The PA totals are going to work out great. I did very well. I mean, this might be plus or minus like 10, 15 miles, but I think that the PA totals are going to work out great with this 1 to 3. I don't know about these 3 to 6s. I don't know. This was a little bit terrain induced. I think around this area is going to pick up. I think we're going to see some 2 to 4s, 3 to 5s, but I haven't seen a ton of reports. I've just seen like people excited the first flakes of the year. So I've not seen a ton of snow reports around the area, to be honest, in the Northeast. There's actually been very little, and I think part of it is not a lot of people were expecting a lot of snow to happen, because most of their local TV meteorologists were telling them just some wet flakes that weren't going to accumulate. So I don't think we're going to be talking about, not everyone, but a lot of them were. So I don't think we'll. I'm not sure if we'll see a lot of snowfall reports in general. You know, people go to bed and then they don't report anything. Hopefully they do. Hopefully enough people were up, because, you know, this area was cranking from 5 to 10 p.m. This whole area was cranking. There'll be a lot of 1 to 3 inch reports in this area. A lot. And I'm in here. That's where I live. So I made out with a couple inches of snow, and now we've transitioned to sleet. That sounds like a fun soccer game. Yeah, rain's gonna wash it away. Maybe if we hold on to the sleet long enough, we'll get 32 degrees, 32. It's probably freezing raining, honestly, right now. We'll see how long we hold on to it. I mean, let's look at radar. Let's look at radar again, baby. What it do, baby? Well, here comes our F band right here. I mean, this will flow up into it as well. So we'll get it. So this will slide northeast, and same with this. So we'll come with different rounds of preset. I'm guessing this is our rain. This is when our rain starts, probably for a lot of people. I haven't seen reports yet, and I don't have a correlation coefficient on me, but we'll have to see. Weather Underground I use specifically for temperatures, because the beauty of this website is, watch, I can go anywhere. If I pull up the wonder map here, that's what I want. I can pull this up, and then where I want weather stations, temperature. I don't even need the radar, to be honest, right here. Nope, don't need radar. I can zoom in, and it's going to give me all these different temperatures, and on most of them, it's different weather stations. So I can click, I can click on anywhere in all these different areas. Usually, I get the background. For some reason, it's not great, but I can get through all these different areas. And I can see all the different temperatures, and it gives me a general idea. So that's why I love Weather Underground for this specific thing. I have different weather apps for specific needs, and this is one of them. It's my go-to. I'm sure they got other stuff, websites I could explore and try to go around. But when I'm quick on the fly and I'm trying to put out information fast for myself, for my tweets, etc., to quickly get us through much information I can, quick, fast, so I can get through what I need to. I just know I got to go to here. All right, what's my temperature? Because I can check my weather station through here. Right, and I can see different weather stations to match around in my general area. I have a couple weather stations around my house as well, where other people are, around where I live. So there's different I have different options I can compare to how my temperature is relative to my town and around the area. You can see a lot of these 29, 30s, and then notice. Zoom in a little bit. Notice the valley a little bit warmer. We got in Connecticut. Oh my god, all these 34s up in here. Usually it holds cold pretty well, honestly, but seems a little bit more elevation based. Notice the Berks. We're gonna see some pretty significant icing, I think, in the Berks. Lots of low 30s, upper 20s, and mid 20s even. I think there's going to be some significant icing in the Berks. When I mean significant, like up to a quarter inch, not like half inch, 3/4 of an inch. It just takes it from the database. It's not really like an official map or something. It's just it's in the database. That's all it is. It's a Weather Underground weather station. But yeah, you don't need to. It's not important. It's easy for me to access. For some reason, the actual, Bluetooth, what weather station that I have, I put it outside, and then I have the data I can see on like a dashboard that's connected to Bluetooth. It just doesn't respond for some reason, the Bluetooth part a lot anymore, part of the ambient weather station. So I would just, and sometimes it shows up here, sometimes it doesn't. And if not, I'll look at the closest weather station to see my temperature. Like if if it's really like for me, if it's more important to know the exact temperature. If I'm trying to know how cold it is for what I need to wear to go outside, I'll just check the Weather Channel app for that. I mean, I guess I might check this too, if it comes to my fingertips quicker. But yeah, computer's getting loud. That is loud, man. I'm gonna switch this up here. I like the other this one right here. I like this, even though it's probably like a copyright list. How does the temperature change in a 2 mile span? Geography and elevation. That's how it changes. I mean, it's timely. The Christmas music is very timely. But I mean, geography, terrain, weather, different how weather is moving through the different layers of the atmosphere at different times. It's complex, but it's true. It's not every 2 miles. It's every every tenth of a mile, depending on just how the terrain is built. Because remember, you take vertical columns of the atmosphere to look happening, and if this place is here, I mean that's like ridiculously high. But imagine one place is here, they're like 3,000 feet up in the atmosphere, and another place. That was a pretty straight line, though. These are some pretty straight lines. You got to give me some credit here. And another place is like 400 feet compared to 3,000 feet. They're like 5 miles apart. It is what it is. Does windy make snow accumulate less? Technically, yes, because it breaks up some of the snowflakes in the snowflake production, and it will break up some of the snowflakes in the dendritic growth zone. And even down as they're coming out of the dendritic growth zone, potentially in the atmosphere. It'll break up some of the snowflakes if it's really, really, really windy. Like if we're talking 25, 30 mile per hour wind gusts, it will be minimal. But when we start to see 35, 40, 45, 50 mile per hour wind gusts, that's when we start to see it impact a little bit. But if it's snowing so heavily, it's not going to make a super big difference. It will make a difference, but like the difference between snowing 3 inches per hour and 3.25 inches per hour is not a super big difference. That's just an estimate. I don't have any concrete, proof this much. There's research and data to back it up, but it's just what I know. So I think we're gonna call this. I know we still got more to go, and maybe a lot of this won't verify. But given this wasn't a total, complete F up, we're going to call this a success. The first Northeast expanded snowfall map of the year. Definitely going to call this a success. Even if it's I might look at the totals tomorrow and think I gotta give myself like a C plus maybe. But that's passing, baby. That's passing. That's a success. So for how this could have gone, I think we're off to a good start. And given the fact, you got to remember too, given the fact we were talking about a big time mix event, those are super volatile to forecast just in general. At 500 millibars, not as much, but at the surface and looking for where that warm air aloft is going to set up, how far is it going to be able to make, how is dynamic cooling going to play a factor, how heavy are the rates, what are the temperatures, what's the elevation for all these places, trying to factor that in. That's super. Those are all super important factors. So I think this is definitely a success in terms of my first snowfall map of the year and of this nature, this far out, this expanded. This is like I measured out. It's like 550 miles across the area I'm now forecasting. compared to probably like 150, 200 what I was doing, probably like 200 miles what I was doing before. Maybe like 225, 250 ish. I used to forecast from here. It was like from here to here. This was my forecast area. Just in terms of straight across. It was that was the area. And now we do all of this. So we got more expectations. Can we see an old snow map? I showed you guys an old snow map last time. But I can pull one up. We did well with a lot of these snow maps last year. We can take a look at some of these. You know, you can take a look. This was one. Not as clean. This one I did not do a clean job on. Still looks pretty cool. You know, it's fine. It's just not as clean. It's a little bit different. Big upgrade. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for insulting my old maps. No, I'm just kidding. It's a new step. It's much more professional. I mean, not that this doesn't look good. It's just it's much more professional than what it used to be. This one, we nailed this one. We nailed this one. That band set up, it was like 20 miles southeast, but we nailed this one. I'll tell you that much. This one we did not nail. I mean, I told you I was going to be wrong somewhere. This 30 to 40 area was more of a to highlight just where the band was going to set up, and it set up like 20 miles east of here. Set up like 20 miles east of here is what happened. None of these happened. None of these happened. None. Nada. In this area was just a 16. This area was just a 16 to 24. And then the band inside was, you know, a 20 to like a 22 to 30, 32-ish, I think was the total. Yeah, I will put out a grade on Twitter when this is all done, and I can, once they put out the snowfall totals for across the region, it's probably going to be in the C to B range. It's probably where it will be. No, models didn't overdo this. It was my forecast. Remember, I try not to get too caught in to the models. And you could tell from the last forecast that we didn't just copy and paste the models, because if we copy and pasted the models, it would have been coating to an inch for here, and that would have been it, with like a 1 to 3 in some spots, and that's not what happened today. This was super close. This was super close to being such a historic storm. This looks like just a fantasy map for snow. Yeah. I think freezing rain. We're like 32 right now, so that's I think I'm freezing raining right now. Probably not accumulating much, but I'm freezing raining right now. If not, maybe a little mix of sleet. Probably a sleet freezing rain mix right now. And then once this next batch, I think there's a batch precip in here in Connecticut right now. Once this moves through, then we'll probably go to all rain in an hour to a couple hours or so. But we were so close. Remember we talked about chasing convection? We had a little bit of that case where the low actually did chase some of this convection a little bit, and we separated. We had a little bit of an invert in our trough, or sorry, between our isobars and our low pressure. So it's almost a little bit of a double barrel. Where if I pull up what happened was we set up some really good dynamics across Jersey. They got into their own show originally. What happened is eventually this got shunted, some of these convection. We weren't able to consolidate enough vorticity, and what happened was our band it still overdid it in terms of the day, but the night before and the morning of, it was still trying to chase way too much convection. So I was right to an extent, and the band ended up setting up, right over, Boston. I was too aggressive. That band ended up setting up, and it was a wide band too. It was a wide ass band from like here to here. I mean, even you could argue it was like here to here. It was 20 to 30 inches, 20 to 32 inches. I think 31.5 was the max total around Taunton, Stoughton. I think Stoughton was the area top total. And if we consolidated a little bit more, we would have got a little bit stronger band. When we would have backed that probably into here. We would have backed this band into, and it would have been 24 to 36 with 40 plus probably in a couple spots if we just consolidated. I did a reanalysis on this one. I can pull it up here on YouTube if you want it. If you're curious about this one. You can pull it up. New subscriber, appreciate it. Show you live. You can see I did here on this. This was the blizzard of 2021. This was a really good storm for a lot of people. Blizzard of 2015, my personal record high for snow, and blizzard of 22 reanalysis. These were all reanalysis streams that we went through, which a few of you probably were in there for some of those. And yeah, so I broke this one down. And these were some good videos, some insightful videos on actual big time, more impactful storms. Easier to break down, more fun to break down than something like what we had today. And pretty enjoyable to break down some of this stuff. Let's take a look in the future. When we say we do that, and also for the YouTube folks, I'm sure you'll find this great or intriguing. I do have a Discord too. If let's see, let me share the link in the chat. If you any of y'all have Discord, here, let me get it up. There we go. There's the link to the Discord. And I have a lot of, we had like 50, 60 people in the Discord, I think. So we got a good amount of people in there now. That's starting to grow. I think we got like 60 people. I usually post the link every, during the winter. I'll post it, every like month or so, every few weeks. And yeah, I don't like post frequently, like super frequently in there, but it's, more laid back, just have discussions. There's other people in there you can talk to. Some of my Twitter folks and community you can interact with. There's some pretty decent, knowledgeable people. It's not like to just, it's not just like goof off. It's not like that. It's it's actual, good discussions. That can go on there from time to time. You have questions or curiosity. I'm sure there's folks in there that can answer some of your questions too. And then I'll check in. I usually check Discord at least once a day at a minimum. So yeah. But let's dig into this. We got one to track this weekend, I think. We'll have one to track this weekend. Notice pulling up this big old trough here. We talked about this. We talked about this one right here, polar vortex. We have polar vortex split to watch for this weekend, where we could see, well, regardless, we're going to see some cold air. This filter of cold air that we're bringing in here, especially on the backside of this trough too. We're just bringing in this cold air. So it's going to be cold this weekend across the northern and eastern parts of the U.S. The northeastern, like not just the northeast region, like the literal, imagine actual literal northeastern part of the U.S. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold this weekend. What a great song. Are you kidding me? I don't think I could have picked, I don't think I could have done that any better. There's a lot of things I can try to perfect in life. I don't think I could have done that any better. Tell me y'all heard the music. I don't think I could have done that any better. That's one of my favorite moments of the day right there. Little things like that. I'm talking about how cold's coming down, and they could not stop saying, baby, it's cold outside. That song's loud, man. I'm genius. I'm a genius. But notice we got this deep dig here in the trough, right? It's big directly from the polar vortex, directly here from the Arctic. And notice we got another filter. This is going to come down too at some point. I'm curious how long it'll take that piece to get down. If we slide this. So that's going to come down. Stream interaction. Yeah, that piece will come down just a little bit too late. We won't get into any of that probably. But definitely something to watch. I'm just curious with the GFS. I did not see. I guess we can look at CMC. We'll see. We'll look at GFS in a second, anyways. Intriguing. Really digging that. Just not a lot on the southern vort there. Not a lot to work with in the southern vort. Probably pretty cold. Just not a lot of moisture to work with until we get into Canada. I mean, notice how quickly that thing strengthens. 984 to 961 in 6 hours. Are you kidding me? It's going to take off. I mean, we told you this thing's going to take off in Canada if it doesn't take off here. Yeah, I saw it. I posted. I think I posted about that. Not like there's obviously I'm not posting the peak type maps, but um, where it's going to be deep. We're going to pull in some really cold air. I mean, that's some deep, frigid, cold Arctic air. I mean, this is 1 p.m. This is, I mean, Canadian depicting this out 1 p.m. here on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. We're a 32-degree line is. This is November, people. This is November. This is not December. This is November. Mid-November. This is going to be some deep, cold Arctic air. I don't know about record highs because I don't know what the record, but we're probably gonna break some records somewhere with this. I mean, that's cold. Wisconsin being 15 degrees with a high, that's got to be a record. That's gonna have to be a record somewhere. I mean, just cold. I'm curious what it does. And then we'll have another one to watch. What? Oh, this is Canadian. Sorry, Canadian. And the GFS. See what it had for here. See, the GFS is the most interesting out of all these. I will have to see what the 0Z Euro's coming out right now, so we'll have to see. But notice we look for here on the upper level. We'll zoom in. We'll zoom in. Maybe let's see it pulls it in, and we get our southern board a little just connected enough. We're able to pull it in. Notice here, right on the edge here, it's still being shunted off a little bit. We can back this up. I'm telling you, we back this bad boy up right here about 300-400 miles. We can make something happen. We can make something happen here, and even then, there's probably a little bit of precip. It's probably a little bit of precip. If we pull in here on the surface, a little bit, you can kind of see a little bit. It's just a little too late. The 18Z run was probably the best with that. Take a look here at the surface. Close. I'm telling you, with 5 days, we're 4 or 5 days out. Yeah, I'm telling you, fantasy stuff, they've been doing some crazy crap. But I know that's far out. We'll look at that in a second, and then maybe we'll look at for we'll look at it for giggles. We'll look at it after that P-type and snowfall. Just remember when we look at that stuff, it's not real. It's not real. We don't have any idea with any of that stuff so far out. But I'm telling you, remember we talked about the teleconnections last night and that long ass stream we did? We're gonna have to watch out. We're gonna have I think we're gonna have negative EPO, negative PNA, negative NAO, and I like that combination. I haven't looked at all, but I'm telling you, we back this up. We can't give up. We can't give up on this one. We just can't. Teleconnections is going to be big. Well, teleconnections aren't a thing. It's a combination of things. It's a multitude of different combinations of different places of ridges, etc. Blocking, locations of blocking. Those are teleconnections, which we went through last night. But I'm telling you, we just back this thing up. Why does it keep doing that? It is pissing me off. We just backed this up. I'm telling you, 300 miles. It sounds like it's asking a lot. We backed this up 400 miles. What's gonna happen here is it's almost like doubling. It's not just backing everything up 400 miles. It's backing this up 400 miles, and then this allows much earlier amplification and consolidation of our upper level low, which is which is right here. You see our upper level low right here, and then our surface low is probably at this point, sliding out somewhere. Over here is where our surface low is, and we consolidate this energy out in front of the trough. Remember, we want to get our southern energy out ahead of our north stream. Always. What's the chances? It's not. Yes, there's a chance because it's 5 days out and it's the polar vortex, so it's not a perfect. It's not something that's going to be super stable in terms of what model runs are going to pick up on. It's going to change. I guarantee you, it's not going to be the exact. Nothing's ever going to be the exact same, but it's going to change. We're going to see run to run changes. It's going to happen every single time, every single run until we see the split actually occur. So for the next 3-4 days, we're going to see a lot of changes, probably to a certain extent, relative to our area. It's not like this thing has a chance of backing up like out here, because it's been centered that it's coming through this area. We just need to back this up a little bit more. And then we can maybe get a southern New England special, eastern New England special. How are we doing on battery? That's okay. We won't be on for like another hour and a half or something, but I'll take a look at 280. I have not. Y'all are obsessed with our 280, but I've been telling you about this storm for a long time. Oh, this was the 18Z. Yeah, what stands out here, this is another lobe of the polar vortex. It looks like it's trying to depict that comes down here and works almost like as a north stream. There's a lot going on in this image. Like you can. You could get a snowstorm with these two right here if you get a stream interaction. Doesn't mean it's here, but you can get a snowstorm with those two pieces. You can get a snowstorm. You can get a full-on snowstorm with these two pieces, and then this works almost like a third piece, so it's like a 3-part phase. But notice this piece right here up here in the Arctic. This gets brought down, and this bitter. That's such powerful. It's elongated, but that's such a powerful vort. And then there's enough left where we create another one after. And that one's pretty close too. We're in complete fantasy range at this point. Super strong upper level low though. Super strong. Let me take a look here. And just a tad late too. Just a tad late. We want to start. We want to ideally push this a little bit further southeast and then get this north stream to catch up a little bit sooner. We need our north stream to match up because this is such a powerful southern vort. That would be that's a ridiculously strong upper level low right there. And that stream interaction, we close off. Do we close off? Not yet. Eventually we do. But yeah, I like that end of December. The end of December. Sorry, that's a month from now. That end of November pattern. Yeah, we're too far out to pinpoint anything. I'm not going to BS you and tell you this is a guarantee. I like the 24th to 28th. I like the 19th or the 20th. 20th, 21st. I like this Sunday period. To at least have a shot. It's not a guarantee. You need some stuff to change here. We need this to back up a little bit more, and just a little bit, and not less backup and more dig. We need a little bit more dig and back up just a little bit, so we can get this southern wart to work just a little bit more out in front of everything that's happening. Yeah, I just showed you the toes of Europe. I already showed you it. You already saw it. I showed it to you guys. That was the first model I showed you. This right here. Remember, we already showed you this. And this, what happens here is the southern wart gets out in front a little bit more. So what happens is we break out an area of precip. You can see it right here on 500. We break out an area of precip right here, and then eventually we get a snowstorm. We play this run out into Canada. Bro, don't call them clowns. They just probably didn't realize it. The model run I pull up, it says right here. You know, I mean, this is valid. I mean, this is the time frame, and right here. I mean, these are the two spots here and here on every model run. It tells you what the model run is. This is where it tells me, and this is where I select. P-type map. I mean, P-type map it is what it is. I just explained to you what's happening. You just want to see the stuff. There's the precipitation right there. It's a brief area, and then it consolidates eventually. It's just a little too late. It's closer than the GFS, though. I mean, we're probably close to 0Z model now for yeah. We're far enough out. Jesus. That's like 6% in 10 minutes. Intriguing. It's intriguing, I'm telling you. Not super far off. That's not super far off. Close. Not close enough. Not really a step back, but I mean it is, but it isn't, because it's relatively all the same at 500. It's just a little small, minuscule timing difference. Jesus. See our southern wart right here. You know, this is our southern. Here's our right here. We gotta dip dip this a little bit more. I mean, that much would be amazing to get maybe a full-blown snowstorm. But just we need to dip this more so we can allow more time for this to get out ahead and consolidate our upper level low sooner. Yes, I do have a dog. I don't know why you brought that up right now, because the dog is being super quiet. But yeah. I mean, I like. I mix and match. I think they're both useful for me. Different things. For the Euro, it's pivotal because it comes out sooner. I like the Tidbits 500 millibar format. I think sometimes there's a lot going on here on these maps, so it can be a little bit tricky. But I mean, it's just I know how to do this. I can do like 75% of 500 millibar setups in my sleep for winter. Now figuring out the forecast is a little bit different, but it's just surface level. Look at this and know if we can get a snowstorm from it. I can do that in my sleep. I should do. I shouldn't be making out these snowfall maps and not being able to understand 500 millibars. Barking? No one's barking. I promise you, there is no dog barking right now. Because I would have heard it. I have really good hearing, and my dog is like 2 feet away from me right now, so I would hear it. I don't know. Just takes more time. Just takes more time for it. Back that up. That's all we gotta do. It's very possible it's your dog. It doesn't make its own models. It just has the models. None of these websites make the models. They just people plot it and graph it as the models how they can. They code it. They do a lot of coding, a lot of Java, and they code these models themselves. They make Python, all that stuff, all that good stuff that I can't do. I did take a class when I was in high school. I took a class in high school a long time ago. Years ago, I took a class on Java. That was one of the hardest classes I've ever taken before. Why don't we have a Mexican model? It's not by it's not. Why don't we have a Mexican model? That's one of the best comments I've ever heard. We just don't. Mexico isn't. There's no Mexican model. They are taking away the NAM next year. I think, or after next year. I think next year is the last year for the NAM, and they're like it's like a new version of the NAM basically, and they're calling it something else that will work as a new high res model. Forget the name of it, but that's the biggest change coming up with models. I think the Euro is getting some changes too. So it's not Mexico don't care about no model. Yeah, no more now. Matt Ferrara is Ferreira? I think Ferreira is how you say his last name. I think he's been on all on top of that. He's talked to me about that before. Yeah. See, oh, that is the dog now. Having a dream. But yeah, no more Nam. No more Nam after I think next year. So in 2023, 2024 is when we see the changes. Bro, that wasn't you. It wasn't you knew you heard the dog. That was the first noise the dog made. Bro, I promise you were not. I'm here. I am present. The dog is not. It's possible he made a noise earlier, but he has not barked yet. I promise you. There's been no barking. That wasn't even a bark either. That was a crying dream. That's what it was. Close. Not close enough. We'll see how the end of this year, though. And we'll hop off. Who makes the NAB? United States. It's an American model. North American model is literally what it's called. That's what it stands for. Oh my god, bro, you bought that too quick. He was joking. Mexico doesn't make a freaking model. Mexico does not make a model. It's good you guys are on top of this, realizing Mexico does not make a model. I don't know why I was so obsessed with Mexico now, but I'm curious what changes we had. Yeah, notice. You see this getting stretched out more? This is what helped us today. Notice this was back here more. Notice the difference. There's your difference right there. This preset got out ahead faster, sat in the cold air. John made himself heard in the YouTube chat. Because Mexico, everywhere gets a lot of weather. It's not just Mexico. There's nothing special about Mexico, other than they speak a different language. Excuse me. Mexico is not the weather capital of the world. Honestly, other than hurricanes, it's hurricanes and thunderstorms. That's all Mexico gets. Because usually we pull up moisture from here. And the Pacific flows like this. And Mexico's close to the equator, so there's not a lot of snowstorms typically. There is in like these are where there's elevation here, anywhere in there where there's elevation. But yeah. How do I know what it is? Because I know. I've looked at it. I can tell you. I looked at P type. I looked at the P type map on Pivotal as well. But I can. I know this is all over cold air, and I know this. I know especially. I know this event well enough. This is where most of our cold air is, and then you got to look into specifics for these areas. So I know in general that this is a good snowstorm for these areas. If I didn't know anything about this event, I knew this was going to be a good snowstorm for those areas. So I just follow the upper level low. I would look at this and I would say, nah, it's probably a decent snowstorm for up here. There's a difference between the National Weather Service radar and, geez, we are draining too fast. There we go. I just explained to you how I know that because I can look at 500, and then I can look at the other, and then I can look at the precip to correlate that, and I can tell where the cold air is. If you're talking about the model runs, you talked about the models and the National Weather Service radar, which are two different things. Those are not the same things. This I don't know exactly, but I was on radar scope all before, and I can see where our correlation coefficient is. I mean, I can just you can kind of tell too based on some of these radar looks. I know this is all sleet right here. Behind this is probably sleet now at this point, this is probably all freezing drizzle in here, where it's probably barely anything, but it's probably freezing rain. It's rather light precipitation, so it's definitely not sleet coming down. We're not cooling the column whatsoever, and this batch probably coming in as rain, with maybe some freezing rain for some spots that are colder. The dog is not making any noise. I have music on in the background. There's no dog making any noise, dude. You better go check your own dog, because there ain't a dog. Or you gotta stop bringing up the dog. There's not a single dog going on. You're hearing things, or you're hearing things in your own house. There is no. I don't know why you're obsessed with the dog, but there's no dog going on. I have a dog. You on that 5,000 foot CT crack? Oh man, that 5,000 foot Connecticut energy. Freaking 5,000 feet, like Mount Kilimanjaro, for Christ's sake, in Connecticut. I'm not that smart. When you spend your time and energy and you expend it on something for long enough, you're probably, unless you're doing it wrong. If you're doing it wrong, that's another thing. You're just gonna get smarter. You're gonna get better at it. It's just in general. It applies to anything in life. You can go back. You can go play it back if you would like it. My 5,000 foot Connecticut reaction. Well, like no way. I need to like no way. I know there isn't a 5,000 foot place in Connecticut. That's not that dude. He didn't know any better. I don't know if he's in the chat right now or not, but he didn't know any better. It's not. So yeah, it was a mistake, and he was riding on it. He thought it was something was wrong. He thought he was right the whole time. It's fine. The average person probably doesn't know what the highest elevation in the Northeast is. He probably doesn't know any better. It's fine. I mean, he was convinced. He just needed some. He just needed some proof. Sometimes proof is what you need. I had a political joke, but we won't make it. Do we get more of the Euro in? I want to see how this run ends. Once this run ends, we'll hop off. Got a little sneeze right there. Fire. Why are we talking about? No, we are not going back. We're not going back. Those red spots are not wildfire. Oh my. Oh, this is 500 millibar. This is not wildfire. This is 500 millibars vorticity. None of this is wildfire. I don't want to sound irritated, but I thought we were well established that this is 500 millibar vorticity. This is 500 millibars in the atmosphere. We're looking at and this is a vorticity map, and this is how we look at snow. This is not wildfire. No, let's not tear people down. Let's not tear people down. Was it dumb? A little bit. A little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But let's not tear people down. We're not gonna be our chat. If this channel grows how I hope it will on YouTube, we are not gonna be one of those chats. But yes, someone did say that, John. It's okay. Yeah, this is 500 millibar vorticity. And this is what we use to look at with different weather systems. This is how you track weather. This tells you everything you need to know if you know what you're looking at. And the more we look at this, the more you're going to understand that 500 millibars is key. I mean, it tells us everything we need to know. All right, from here we got the lobe of the polar vortex coming in. This is we need this southern board to just get out a little bit out more in front. We need this to dig just a little bit more, so we can get our southern board to get out in front here, and then maybe it kind of shunts it off until here, and then we can get an explosion precip into here. I mean, explosion, but relative, just enough so we can get a snowstorm or just a little bit of snow. It's possible. It's possible. But we need some pretty big changes. A wildfire map? No, there's no wildfires going on. Why are you obsessed with wildfires? There's no wildfires going on right now. Really need to see what? Why do you need to see wildfire? There's no wildfires happening. Also, we don't really track wildfires here. You're hearing the music, right? Well, it's Christmas music right now. All I've talked about is snow. We're looking at snowstorm. We talk about especially wintertime with the hurricanes, a little bit of severe weather, tornadoes, and especially snow. I'm no wildfire expert. That's not my specialty. There's stuff on certain models you can look at for that stuff, but I mean, I don't know why in the first place. It says 500 millibar relative vorticity. There's no wildfires going on. There is not a single wildfire going on. Yeah, on Twitter. I mean, there's stuff you can look at for there. I mean, wildfires aren't exact. I don't know. Well, they're not born for the people affected, but there's no wildfires going on. I mean, we're this like it's not even wildfire season. I mean, there doesn't need to be a season technically for wildfires, but when the jet stream's so active and we got precip, dude, I'm not checking for wildfires. I'm not. I'm not. I'm sure there's a small brush fire out there somewhere, but I'm not checking for wildfires. You gotta stop asking me to check for wildfires. I'm not checking for wildfires. If there's massive wildfires, they will talk about it on Twitter and it will be easily accessible to find on retweet. I'm not, dude. I am not, bro. You gotta stop talking about wildfires. You gotta stop. You can learn. I don't want, bro. You gotta stop. Stop talking about wildfires. If you keep talking about wildfires to the extent you are, I'm just gonna time you out for a couple minutes because I don't. Dude, you too. You too. Yeah, I hate Seth because I would know if a wildfire is coming for me, dude. You go, please. Where you got one more. This is not how this is gonna go for the future. I don't want to be talking about trying to moderate comments. I want to take the time. I take time out of my day not to moderate comments. I take time out of my day to go over weather patterns and go over the weather with you guys. Bro, I kept telling you, my guy. You just get listen. It's not nothing personal. I promise it's nothing personal. You just kept talking about it. I take time out of my day to go over this stuff. I to talk about what I want to talk about. First of all, I don't even know where I would start. I don't even know where I would start because I don't do wildfire stuff. It's just the timeout is for 5 minutes always on YouTube. I mean, no, it's not to be fair. We established that. I mean, maybe he thought it was in the beginning, but we talked about it. I established it says 500 millibar vorticity. I established what we're talking about. Many times I talked about what we're not going to talk about, and you kept talking about wildfires. It's mid-November, and it's snowing tonight. I mean, what realistically? I don't know what he thought we were going to talk about. Bro, the wood jokes too, bro. I swear to God, those got to go. It's enough. It's enough. Like in terms of all that stuff. I mean, all you had to do was listen to the music, and you could figure out what we were going to and not going to talk about. Rudolph is on right now. We're not talking about. I've said wildfires 40 more times than I thought I was going to in this stream. Dude, if you want to keep talking about it, seriously, dude, you're another. one more comment, and you're sitting in timeout with the other dude. It's like seriously, like I don't do this for this. Like this, I don't do I don't want to put up with this kind of BS. Want to talk about weather? Appreciate all of you that are here. I don't want to take that for granted, but thank you, John. You did it. You beat me to it. You beat me to it, John. I mean, whoa, this is going to be an interesting run. Notice here we got this big time low right here, but this is still closed off. So this is going to take some time because this is really amped up and closed off. What's going to happen here is on this one. So this is going to get pushed off for a little while. This piece is going to work like a kicker. It's going to push this off until this opens back up. And once this opens back up, then we'll see the stream interaction between these two. I mean, this is so far out, it's not even worth like breaking down in reality in terms of importance, but I want to, just because I want to. This time frame, I think this time frame something we can get something to happen. A tornado in Texas. Well, it's because it's really, you can see it's really wound up. There could be severe weather on this. We would look for, typically when we look at 500 millibars, we look for severe weather. Out ahead of the system. That's what we look for. And then on the northwest system, right, this is our upper level low right here. We look for weather out ahead. Is where we look for snow. But this is a bit complicated. This is pressing down, so we're just shearing off precip right now until we can get a full on stream interaction. Yeah, you can see a hurricane at 500 millibars, but we like to look at 850 because that's lower in the atmosphere. It's a lower level in the atmosphere. Remember we talked about mid-latitude cyclones, start here, and low, that's where they initiate. Yeah, I don't want to say initiate, but kind of. That's where the magic happens. Whereas tropical storms happen and hurricanes happen at the surface. I did not see the penguins playing in the snow, but it happens here at the surface. Hurricanes happen at the surface, and then once they get more stronger and stronger, the more they start to stack up in the atmosphere. You can start to see it more in the atmosphere, and that's where you can start to see it become more visible on 500 millibars. And now watch, why did this just back up on me like that? I'm sure it will show up eventually then for me, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm just breaking this down. I've been focused on the snow the whole day, so notice once this starts to open up, notice how this starts to open up in the next frame. This is 234, and we got 240. That's how we start to see the stream interaction. Now we've see how this opened up. These lines were closed up here, and now watch in the next frame, the prior frame. Sorry. Right, we were closed off. We were super closed off in 500 millibars, but this is such a strong piece. This is a strong north stream right here. Oh no, nope. Back. We're going to see a stream interaction. So So this piece might work as kicking. This might kick this off for a little bit, but this ridge really looks like. I mean, based on our height lines, it looks like this wants to amplify and be an inland runner. Typically, we like to see this happen a little bit farther east. I didn't even see. Dude, if you're just only going to talk about wildfires, I'm not just going to talk about wildfires. You got to stop, dude. You get like one more chance, and then you're going to get put on like read only mode. Like you got to stop. Like seriously, I take time out of my day to do this stuff for you guys. If you want the streams to continue, right? Again, listen. I break down. I appreciate the people, you guys coming in here, but I break down what I want to break down. Yeah, I have reasons for the talking points I have. The reason I'm up this late doing this is to break down this specific Euro run. Is it going to be that important in the long run? No. I'll look at the penguin video when it comes up in my Twitter timeline eventually, like all the big ones do. All the big bangers on Twitter do. They show up in your timeline eventually. So if you guys want these streams to continue here on YouTube, the BS that happened tonight with the comments, it just can't happen. It can't happen. And it ruins also for the people that do that. It makes it harder for me to trust people to eventually give mods. Like there's potentially eventually a couple people I'm going to want to give in mind, but it makes it more difficult. So I know there's people that kept talking about that stuff and tried to make a funny comment for me to get attention, but if you just want attention from the YouTube comments, to just go get it from someone in your actual life. If you're in constant search of attention, you want it from some random YouTuber with 250 subscribers, and I mean, like seriously, that's how you want to get your attention, to get recognized. So we went on a little bit of a rant there, but it was necessary. Gotta set guidelines. We can't go off the railings. I do compared to what most people go in depth on YouTube in terms of weather. I do pretty high level analysis compared to what most people do here on Twitter. Or sorry, not on Twitter. Twitter's plenty of that. On YouTube though. Okay. Let's get back to the Euro. And then we'll 15, 20 minutes, with the next, 10, 20 minutes here, we'll hop off, maybe a little bit sooner. And I'll answer whatever questions you guys got. And just dump them in here. But we gotta remember, we have such a strong board here. This is such a strong board here. And it's probably not funneling in a ton of cold air, just given how close we are to the Gulf, just in terms of latitude and time of the year. But this is a strong. We can look at P-type if we want to help simplify it for you. You can see that's a really strong board piece right there, and hasn't gotten to enough cold air yet. We haven't got enough cold air to funnel in the system yet, given the latitude. So it's just on the specific run, but we're not really looking for that right now. We're looking for just a potential dynamic system to set up right now in the long range, and then we can work from there. We're trying to look for just any consistency, which still not a lot, and it makes sense when we have such a big ridge, and then some really strong pieces of vorticity there. But just in general, this important stuff to know for the future too. When we're looking here at 500. Notice the stream interaction between these two pieces. This wants to happen sooner, but notice how this isn't just diving straight down. Fudge. Notice the angle of this gets cut off like this instead of diving straight down. It's because this is preventing it because we're closed off. I mean, we're like 4 contours closed off here. I'm surprised it's not even showing maybe just a little bit of snow, but it makes sense. We're cut off from cold air right now at this point, so it makes sense given the time of year and latitude. I'm gonna put you seriously. I'm gonna put you on timeout too if you keep talking about the dog. I don't know if you're like trolling or you're just genuine. There is not a dog making any noise here, and I'm genuinely pissed off. Seriously, like it's been just the last 20 minutes have been a full disaster of me just trying to do weather analysis from you guys. I'm 30 seconds away from just ending this right now. I just had enough. I shouldn't my life should not have to have mood swings based on my YouTube chat on my weather channel. And wherever your name is, EG Jath EQ 34, there's not unless I change my mind or something, you're never going to be able to have another comment seen on this channel for the rest of your life. So stop talking about a dog. If you talk about a dog one more time, you're going on timeout. And if you bring it up again, you're going to be hidden from the stream. It's pretty simple. Like, this is just exterior BS that I should not have to put up with. It's not even banned. He can still come in, and whenever he wants to get weather information, like most of the people do on my Twitter, and most of the people, a good amount of people do on YouTube. They just watch the streams and they don't put a lot of information because I'm usually going over a lot of stuff and the good important stuff. Okay, if you know it's your dog, then why do you keep saying it's my dog? I don't need to know about your dog. Okay, we clear on all that stuff though? Are we clear? I'm not putting up with it. I'm just, if it just continues, I'm gonna say whoever's dedicated enough, you can come over to Twitter, and we'll be done on YouTube. If you guys keep doing this stuff, it's not everyone, but enough people can ruin it for the majority. How do you think we put up laws? We put up laws in America because people ruin it for the majority because they don't know how to not be idiots. I'm not gonna end YouTube, but I don't want to put up with this. I don't want to put up with this. I take out more time to personally answer you guys' questions about meteorology and help you guys develop this. I'm showing respect. I don't usually need to verbalize this, and I don't think it needs to be brought up. I show a lot of respect by making sure I'm pretty respectful to all of you, as long as you're respectful to me. And even then, I'm still going to be pretty respectful, give you a chance to explain yourself. I've done this multiple times with people already, where a lot of people just wouldn't put up with it and they ban you right away. All right, let's dive back in. I just want to be clear though. I take time out of my day. I show respect to you guys, and I provide my thoughts and insights on it. Appreciate it. I appreciate it, God Church. But I'm providing my insight. And taking time out of the stuff I want to talk about. So I'm sure one or two of those people that I put on timeout are listening to this right now. And for whatever attention you want right now to get out of this, you're not going to get it. Not the person you're going to get it from. Wherever you're lacking attention in your life right now, you got to go get it from someone else. Go get it from someone who you can talk to. Something's wrong in your life right now, to the fact you need to troll a random person who's doing good stuff on YouTube for people. There's something that wrong with your life, you need to feel you need to do that to other people. I can't help you with that anymore. You're needy, and you need to show attention and to prove to people that you're valid enough. I can't validate anything for you. I don't know you, so take that for what you want. Let's finish this up. My point was with the euro. Is this is where a lot of our cold air is coming from on this specific run, and we're closed off at 500 millibars, so we're not going to get a full 2-part stream interaction. We got 2 pieces, really strong piece here, and another pretty strong North Stream piece right here as well. Ideally, we would slide this all a little bit further, but we're so far out, it doesn't matter too much right now. Just having these pieces on the table is good enough for 10, 12 days out, whenever this is going to happen. And I guess we could compare what's going on with the GFS. GFS winds that up a little bit later, you can see, and then until it actually has that North Stream, instead of diving down like this, has it slide across, so we don't get nothing. There's nothing to show for here. And then what happens is we get a new piece that comes in, and eventually we get our stream interaction. We get decent snow, a little bit of snow left over. Here's our upper level low, and we got snow breaking out. That's on that specific run. And then cold comes in. Typically the North Stream guys are always, the North Stream is typically where you're always going to be able to funnel in your really cold air from. Like typically regular winter time, you're still going to have cold air to funnel into. HG, I swear to God, you're one away from being banned. One away. You're one away. But on the North Stream, you'll always want to look for, because your North Stream is coming from the Arctic. It's not necessarily a low of the polar vortex always, but your North Stream has pulling in some sort of Arctic cold air always. Notice This is some Canadian cold air we're pulling in here in the North Stream, and watch it as it pulls across, regardless if there's not going to be a stream interaction here between these two pieces, but we're funneling cold air. If we follow along here, not even a second chance, but I've given you 3 chances. 4 chances, maybe. You're still distracting me from what I want to talk about. Then notice where we were just following that piece on 500. Notice how we're just following this piece. Watch, you can see cold air funnel across where our north. And that's what happens. And notice cool things you can pick up on this temperature map is too, you can notice precip get wrapped around and moisture get wrapped around. So you can see that we have a system here, and then we have another system here. We have another system here. Notice that. Another system here. Another system here. And you can pick this up. Probably something going on out here. And you can pick up all these small little things by just looking at the temperature maps. So this is always, you can see the warm air that surges in. No, remember YouTube. We do not tear people apart. I can handle people that want to be problems. I can handle that by myself. We are not going to tear people apart. We're not going to alienate people, because then we just push people. And the more attention you bring up, the more you focus, the more it lets you, the more attention you're giving that person as well. The more you talk about it. I shouldn't even brought it up in the first place. I didn't even. If I don't engage and I don't talk about it, they're probably not going to keep talking about it. So we don't need to tear apart people. It's not what we do here. Not a source of hate on this channel. So by the time we get to 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, and those YouTube lives are packed, I'll have more moderators at that point. But just for future, because there's probably a couple even right now that could be moderators in the future, at least. So just trying to make that point. We don't want to be a source of hate. We want to joke around when it's proper, have some fun, but a lot of this is, I know right now we're laid back because we're at the end of a storm. There's not a ton going on in the immediate, but you gotta remember, a lot of these lives that I'm going to do is going to be there's going to be a lot of Twitter questions I'm going to have to answer as well. We have bigger storms and stuff to talk about, and it's going to be hard, and especially as YouTube continues to grow, the more and more people that come on YouTube, it's going to be harder for me to see some of your comments. So I need to be able to establish how this is going to work for YouTube. So when I do award people, more responsibility to monitor, you're gonna have to know how to handle that stuff. How did John earn my trust? Because John, I know on Twitter, I DM with John. I've seen him on Twitter. I've had interactions with him. He's plenty of interactions on Twitter for 1 or 2 years now. I'm not saying it's going to take 1 or 2 years. It could maybe if I get enough proof for a certain amount of time to verify, who I can trust. But I'm just saying these other people are making it a little bit harder for some of you. I'm not gonna lie, and that's frustrating because John likes to watch in the Twitter chat, and how it should be. It's easier for him to watch. Just right away, gets the notification, boom, hits it. That's it. He's watching. I just said Twitter. That's just how it wasn't through YouTube. John just hopped into the YouTube to help moderate. He saw what was happening and he stepped up for me, helped a little bit. It's not like, how did I notice him? It wasn't a LinkedIn job description. How did I find it? It's not like how did I find John? John found my Twitter page, followed me, comments on stuff. I comment back. I see some of his comments on other people's stuff eventually too. DM back and forth some too. I'm not related to John person. I am not related to @John person, which is his YouTube. Like cousins? No, we're not cousins. I'm actually. Notice we're picking up. Whoa. No, thank you. We need to look on there forever. You notice it's picking up. Notice it's picking up this drop. That's a really good ensemble sign for what are we 10, 11 days out? John is not a local weatherman. John, you know why John's a good follow? Because he retweets a lot of weather stuff or comments on a lot of weather stuff. So people that disperse the information are. But John he's busy college kid. Has classes, is in college. Pretty sure not for weather. He has a life, and he just enjoys the weather as well. But man, this is notice here too on our ensemble. We got this nice ridge here. We got the dip in the jet stream. Boom, probably pulling in some cold air based on our 528 line coming this far south. You are a minor in meteorology? That's awesome. That's awesome, John. I'm curious. What about this one? Not great, but I mean that's kind of what all the other models are saying as well. The last one was a little bit better. Notice the Jeffs, the ensembles tend to follow the operational, so we slid this back a little bit on the 18Z. This slid out a little bit farther in front, and that's what we needed. Yep. Yeah, I mean, college, you got to remember, college is not the same class time every single day. Different later times spread out throughout the day. So, and I'm sure he's missing out on sleep just to talk about my YouTube moderators and my YouTube chat. It's what I've talked about mainly for the last 35 minutes instead of the weather, but it is what it is. Sometimes you got to do this. I mean, some people really enjoy the weather. I've had a lot of nights where I've been watching stuff that I enjoy. I probably shouldn't have been up that late, but it is what it is. It's just a tad too late. All right. Do we have any weather related questions, guys? Do we have any related? As good of a person John is, that is not the topic of conversation that I had in mind. Neither was the prior 25 minutes. No, I haven't met John in person. I haven't. I've met very few of the Twitter people I've ever interacted with in person. I don't meet these people in person. But please, do you guys have this weather related stuff? There we go. What month gets the most snow? It depends on where you live, but January, February is a peak winter time frame for take a look on radar. Oh, yeah, preset filling in. Continues to fill in here. But I mean, just in general, I would say January, February. Whenever we get in the big one, I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, I think if you live in the Northeast, you live in just the eastern part of the country. I think that 25th to 28th time frame is something to watch. I think it's definitely something to watch. And then there'll probably be plenty of opportunities after that. What height does elevation start to become a factor? Uh, I'd say like 800-900 feet. Close to 1,000. I would say that's when it starts to really become a factor. I'd say every 300 to 400 feet, there's this good sizable difference. Like most locations are probably around 100 feet in elevation. 100, like that's not verbatim, but like probably most are anywhere from 100 to 100 to 300 feet in elevation. So once you start getting 500-600 feet in elevation, that's a nice little bonus compared to 300 feet. And then 800-900 feet in elevation, that's a nice difference. Once we start to get, and then once we start to get 1,000-1,200 feet, that's where you start to really separate yourself from the pack, from a lot of the other locations that live around you. I'm a little in between 500-600 feet. I'm like in the middle of that, like 550-ish. But I live around a lot of hilly terrain, so we go anywhere from 600-700 feet to 800 to back down to 300-400, and then some places 1,000, 1,200. I mean, I'm not up there. John is up there. John's 2,000 feet elevation. That's you just put that in because he's at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. So that's some real elevation. If he lived 2,000 feet in uh, Maryland or Pennsylvania, that'd be an even bigger bonus along the Appalachian Mountains there. Appalachians make out pretty good. When should I get it? I would get it now. I don't know why you would wait. I don't know why you would wait to get a shovel or snowblower. I get it before. I would get it before the season. I would get it in the summer when the deals are probably much better too. To be honest, um, shovel you can get at any time, but shovel will go out like 2 days before a storm. People, for some reason, the amount of people that don't have shovels is incredible to me. Like at some point you've never bought a shovel. That is amazing to me. And I don't want to say like you specifically maybe have a reason, but um, yeah, the prices are not going to fall now. But I would just get it beforehand because it's November. It's no longer like September and August. You want to get I would get it. I would just get it now, so you don't have to worry about getting it when that time comes, and then maybe it's on higher demand. Maybe they raise the prices even more. I shovel my area. I mean, I'm out in the snow, so I just shovel my area. It's the best type. I don't know. I like my shovels. I got like 4 or 5 shovels. Our YouTube loads so much quicker than my Twitter for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. You could like look it up. Sure, get one that's sturdy. You don't want to get one that's probably super lightweight. You're probably gonna want to get something that's durable that you can lift heavy wet snow in. You don't want to get something super light. Uh, where do you live? Because I got 2 inches of snow too, but I'm pretty confident that it's gonna rain enough to the point where I don't have to. I don't have to worry. I don't have to shovel. I just shoveled my walkway. I don't think there's anything crazy. I shoveled at 2 a.m. all the time. I shovel. There's no time limit for me. Whatever I need to shovel, I shovel as I see fit. I don't think it's crazy. Brattleboro, Vermont. Okay. Yeah, I would. You're not gonna. You're not. You're probably gonna get a lot of mix for the rest of the night rather than rain. What's your elevation? What's your elevation? I'm leaning towards if it were me personally. I don't know what you would do, but if it were me personally, I would probably shovel unless you don't like have anywhere to go tomorrow. But I would if it were me, I would shovel. It depends if you're like 50 feet of elevation, then I would probably say no. But 700, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. I would shovel. But that's just me personally. That's just if you feel like you can still get it and you got a whole driveway. I mean, that might be a pain in the morning to do. So I would just get it. I would probably do it now. That's just that, but that's me personally. If you're lucky, you get some rain and it will just turn it to slush. But I think you're probably still mixing, and you're probably mixing for the next at least the next couple of hours, probably too. So I don't know how much rain is going to do to put a dent in it. But yeah, we'll call it a stream there. I appreciate everyone that came in. We had some hiccups in the YouTube chat. Hopefully, you guys will be better for the future because I got plans. I have a vision. I got a vision for the YouTube chat. I got a vision for the YouTube chat. Yeah, you probably. I would shovel now personally. I got vision. I got a vision for the YouTube chat. So I want, and not just not the chat for how the YouTube channel is going to be work. So I want you all to understand. I got Twitter and YouTube, to navigate in terms of what a lot of this future stuff. So I just want you all to understand. Like this isn't a place to just come mess around, be immature, mess up, try to mess up my day without really thinking about for you just trying to put a funny comment in to think you can get some attention. This is not the spot to do that. Twitter gets it's insane. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not like me personally. It's just people. There's a lot of people who want a lot of different information. Like I got Mike Trout. I got who hits me up with this stuff. Mike and I have DM before and talked about this. Not like talk, but like ask questions and stuff. And comes in goes through like the Twitter lives and stuff for all the people. So there's a lot of people like it'll probably in the Twitter. It'll probably be yes, actually. It's probably like I mean, you want proof here. Mike Trout loves the weather. That's true. I'm not famous. He just likes the weather. I mean, you can take a look too. I mean, he follows a bunch of weather people. He went on a spree last year of following weather folks. Will it show me? I mean, here, yeah. I mean, you can see. I mean, he followed a bunch of weather folks last winter. It pulls it up. Will it? I mean, he follows a lot of baseball people too, but yeah. I don't have everything, but my point is, it gets hectic. So I don't want to have to when I got a lot of Twitter stuff that's going to be going on with these big storms. I don't even want to have to look at the YouTube chat and like I got really well put together people who are somewhat intelligent and are or just regular people looking for information, pretty professional setup. It's not no like BS. The YouTube is really more relaxed than the Twitter is, which is fine. Because you guys, there's a I've built up a basis and people understand through my tweets. They understand I have a little bit more knowledge on a lot of this stuff because I go through it so in depth on all the Twitter stuff before I have YouTube. You come in, you've never seen anything I've done before. You come into one stream, and from there, that's where you start. So I have to keep breaking it down for some of you guys, which is fine. I don't mind doing. That's why I do it. I didn't hire John. I don't need to hire John. I just added him as moderator. That's not really too big of a thing for him to do. He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind doing that. I think he likes the power too, to be honest. But no. In all seriousness, I don't want to. There's going to be like 40, 50 people in the Twitter chat putting tons of questions. I'm barely going to have time to go through your questions. Then YouTube, I'll try to answer them. And then I got to go back and forth. And I don't want to have to deal with BS like I did tonight in the YouTube chat. I just don't. So that's the idea, hopefully, of moderators in the future. I can add more moderators, hopefully from these big storms, especially, so it can control what's going on. Because those are really exciting times, and there's a lot of information to get through. There's a lot of people with different questions for different areas, and I need to get through all that stuff. And there probably not going to be a lot of, besides the snowfall map streams. I don't want to, like, I know you guys enjoy this, and like they're long, but these are long streams. You got to think about it. We've been on for 2.5 hours doing this, and I probably spent 45 minutes just BSing with the YouTube. But we're going to take off this winter with Twitter. We upgraded, the snowfall maps, etc. YouTube, the streaming setup was not the same as it was last year. I had to screen record stuff, post it on YouTube, and then every once in a while I would do some periscopes for the big storms on Twitter. Those are my live streams. So there's there's a reason to get hyped. I've a lot of time and energy in the off season to prepare for this winter, and mostly because I enjoy it and I get a kick out of it. I mean, I live stream now on Restream here. I have a streaming platform I use to set this up. Just the free version. It's simple. So now it's like 360 quality before. So now we have 720 HD quality. And I can screen share, and then I have the pen tool. I can write on the screen. I use that to show you guys all this stuff. So that's why a lot of you came in. It was like, oh, well, this looks like a decent follow maybe for me. And it looked like it. It didn't start like that. We did some upgrades and yeah. So we're taking we're taking it to a whole new level. We expanded the snowfall map, not only just new format, but new template. Not only the new template, but we do have, we new expanded area. I didn't have any of this set up last year. I'm telling you, I would take my phone camera or my iPad camera, and I would video the screen like a lot of the people start here. That's how a lot of the Twitter people do their live streams, like Bernie Reno. I would film it, and then we would go from there. They'd be quick little live streams. Now with this streaming format, it's a little bit easier. The time of day I choose allows me to, when I'm busy during the day, I can kick back here. I can extend some of these live streams a little bit longer. And that allows me to, break down stuff for you a lot easier. How did you show what you were looking at on screen? I just point to it with a pen, or with the cursor. You guys can see the mouse cursor on here, so it's not difficult to see. I click on something, you guys can see it. So I could usually convey my point pretty well, but I can just be much more clear, and I can explain my thoughts a little bit easier, which is nice. I know. Well, with the pen tool, it's a must for sure. Now that we have it, so that's the good stuff. But all this brings me back to my original point. My original point. As my nose stuffs up from me being in the cold weather the whole night, just sitting in the snow. But my original point was, you guys are gonna when you ask questions, have an idea of what you want to talk about. Specific questions like, what does this mean? What is analysis? What are your thoughts on this area? I'm not telling you what to ask. You should ask what you want to ask. But we can't have what we had tonight when I'm breaking down big snowstorms. It just can't, because I don't want to have to explain to my Twitter chat why my YouTube chat is acting like a bunch of 12-year-olds, which is, I shouldn't have to do that. So I need you. I need you in multiple ways. I need you here, present in this stuff, so I can explain it to you, and so I'm not just talking to nobody. In that case, we end streams earlier when no one's here. And yes, the Twitter chat is more serious because they've come here for really, in-depth analysis compared to what they get, and they want breakdowns, and they know they've seen some of my stuff now. They've seen some of my stuff now, and they know I'm pretty good with Twitter chat. I think Twitter chat would be more perplexed at me. Why are you doing what you're doing when it's pointless? What you're doing on YouTube. I think that I don't want to try to separate and alienate Twitter from YouTube, but you can view it wherever you want to view it. You want to view it on Twitter, you can view it on Twitter. You want to view it on YouTube, you view it on YouTube. I want to make my people. You choose where you want to come from. The YouTube, the YouTube is designed for new people to come in that can't possibly see it from Twitter, and they get a new way to view this stuff. That's the idea of YouTube. Or I'm not going to talk about what do I like better, what community. I like anyone that takes the time in to hear what I'm listening to. And that's respectful. I like anyone that's respectful. Twitter's not scary. Nothing scary about it. Twitter's how this started. I just know a lot of my Twitter. I have a better feel for a lot of my Twitter followers into YouTube. And I know that YouTube accounts are there's so much, what's the word? Anonymity? What's the word? like it's way more anonymous is the point. So like all these different like Hoff SD Wow God Church, like I'm not even gonna try to do the KOK whatever. Like there's so much for like I think it's omni or whatever. You're so much more anonymous. These Twitter people, they're actual profiles. A lot of these people have careers, they have jobs, and if they ever change jobs, they know they can't just post BS, or else they may not get a job if they're acting super immature. With YouTube, that's not the case. The YouTube, you're so much more anonymous. I don't know you really. You don't know me. On Twitter, I keep myself more anonymous than a lot of people do, just out of respect for my privacy. I don't want to share, and but a lot of people on Twitter, they're very personal. They're revealing their inner thoughts. It's a platform. It's a social media platform for you to interact with each other. YouTube's a little bit different. You're watching videos is why you come on to YouTube. You don't come on to YouTube for the same reason you come on to Twitter. It's different. I can't learn anything about you really on YouTube, through like comments and stuff. I can't ask you a question. I got to put it in a YouTube comment, and it's usually directed about a video, and it's way less intimate in terms of the atmosphere on YouTube. Well, no, I'm not gonna do a webcam. A room's a mess, and I don't want to. I feel comfortable with how much I share now. I don't even want people requested me to do. They wanted to see periscopes in the beginning. That's how this actually started. Well, it started originally on YouTube, and then eventually I got more into weather through Twitter. I realized, and then Twitter is where I decided to gain all my knowledge, a lot of my knowledge, and then we took off kind of from there. And so yeah. I know enough about that. Like I know John's a college student. I know he's legitimate. I know he's not a bot. I know he's genuinely interested. He's just I have enough to know that maybe he's committed a crime or two. It's possible. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But I can tell he's a pretty most likely he's a pretty good person based on I have you know why? Because I've had the more interactions you have with someone, the more you find out about them. And I've had plenty of Twitter interactions with him through comments, etc. And I've never came away from an interaction being, wow, what an asshole. Never. And he does that on purpose. He knows if John knows if he's an asshole to me, and I take, then he knows I'm not going to be super respectful, and then there's a risk I might block him, and then he doesn't get to see any more information maybe he wants to see. So periscopes, that's Twitter Live. Twitter Live used to be periscopes. Yes. That's why when you hear who's John, that's how this originally started. I don't know why John turned into this like deity that now he is. I don't know how John turned into this god, but he's not that special. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, has Twitter changed? No, it's the same thing. Just different check marks on different people. That's really it. He's something, I guess it's true. He's something you guys can't see, and that I talk about, and I make it come to life. So I guess John is a little bit like a deity, I guess you could say. And mods are gone. John is not in the room. All right, but I'm serious about the stuff. Like we got to be better. We got to be better on the YouTube chat. And remember, when someone does, we don't egg them on. Actually, you don't even have to talk about him unless I'm like bringing him up a lot. I wouldn't even talk. Even then, I wouldn't even talk about them if they're being bad in the chat and stuff. I don't plan on meeting anybody on Twitter. Twitter's not that kind of place. It's not like a not Twitter's not a real place. But that's beside the point. Point is, I need y'all. We'll have more stuff. I don't know if we'll stream tomorrow or not. I don't know if we'll stream tomorrow or not. We'll see if models start to converge on something for Sunday and get a better idea, maybe. But there's not a lot to talk about. That's different from what we already haven't referenced, and there's the potential. If I see one of these people continue to be respected and not be a problem, and I might have to add another mod just because I don't want to have to risk putting up with any of the BS of what I put up last night, and I don't want to have to make John just watch from YouTube the whole time and moderate from there. John should just be relaxed. Talk to me in private. Why do you want to talk to me in private? You can Twitter DM me if you want. If you don't have a Twitter account, that's how you can talk to me in private. You know what you can do if you wanna. If you feel like we got off to the wrong page, you can easily earn that trust back by when you show up on future streams. You can just be respectful, not get super off topic, and not try to try to be a problem. He wants it. I get it. He wants a DM. Maybe he feels if he's being sincere. He can just show it. If you feel like I'm important enough to the point where you want to see more of this and coming in the future, there's we'll see. I don't want to say no chance. There's maybe a slight chance, but you made it a little bit. It's going to take a little bit longer than maybe someone else. I don't love anything besides my family, snow, and sports. My Celtics, my sports teams. Try not to get myself too attached to anything. I love the weather though, and I love people that want to talk about the weather. And I respect. I have a. It's not that I have this overwhelming love to spread out. I just have a respect level for. I look at you as the person you are, and not the comment you make. That's how I try to view it. It's not that John took 2 years. You got to think about this. On Twitter, I've seen and been through the interactions. We started YouTube live streams this year. So there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to build up trust. John, it is amazing what these YouTube people think of you, man. They think you are something. John, if you ever have a down day, bro, you just gotta look through the YouTube comments. You just gotta look through the YouTube chat. Look through the YouTube chat, and your day will get better immediately. But listen, if you really feel like, if you really feel you want to come back more streams and you were just goofing around, then prove it. Then prove it. You just show up. You are a god, John. Uh, just prove it. You gotta. If you like the content, you like what you're seeing, then you just come in. I mean, honestly, John might be one of the most active on Twitter, and that's probably why. I told you, the more interactions, it's not about, years. It's about the more interactions I have, the more I get, you reveal about yourself, whether you're trying to or not. The questions you ask, the comments you make, the more you reveal about yourself, the more, because you're going to slip up, not necessarily in a bad way, but you're going to slip up in some way and reveal stuff about yourself. Especially if I've DM'd with you before too. And I don't want to make it, don't now say, oh, you want to DM me just so you can become a mod or something. When did John ramp? John is not trying to ramp up the interactions. John just naturally likes the stuff on Twitter and wants to learn. It's just natural. It's not. There's nothing fake about this. It's people wanting to learn information. That's the Twitter, and that's why I think the Twitter has been really special. It's a lot of people who want to learn stuff, and it's me myself who still has a lot to learn about this as well. That's why I am on Twitter as much as I can, and yeah, it's natural. But again, you think if you feel like you need you can be better, then you just prove it. Just prove it. I do not smoke. I do not smoke. And talking about weed is not the way you're going to become a mod quicker. I promise you that. Dude, you shouldn't. I should not be that important to you to the point where you want to be like a mod. That should not be how. You shouldn't want to be just recognized. You should feel comfortable by yourself, and you shouldn't feel like you shouldn't feel like you have to prove something to me to prove to have more status or something like social, like a mod seems like nothing. Like a mod does not change. A YouTube mod does not change what job you're going to get in your life whatsoever. It does not. I'm glad you're supporting, but it doesn't change your life whatsoever. So you shouldn't hold it with that much value. It's just something to help me. I just gave it to him because John never shows up in the YouTube chat. He's always in the Twitter chat, and I saw him hop into the Twitter or into the YouTube, and I just clicked it and realized this. Oh, this came to me. This would be a good idea because whenever he shows up. I appreciate you think I'm that big. I'm not. I'm not that important though. I'm not that important. You gotta value the stuff in your own life more than you value mine. It's important. Self-love and positivity. It's important. Super important stuff. I didn't do a lot of streams last year. I didn't. I would make videos. I would do nightly videos. And you could see streams were good. Streams were good because I wouldn't do it a lot. I would tend to. Would be once or twice a day. I would send out a YouTube video, or I would do a Periscope, which was the old version of Twitter Live. I'd put something out, and usually we get a good amount of people that would come in, and I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now to an extent. I'm always getting better. But yeah, YouTube stays on longer. You guys stay on longer. You guys stay up later. You stay on longer. A lot of Twitter people got 9 to 5 jobs to work, or like 8, or even earlier, or school. So, especially a lot of the teenagers on there. This 15 to 18-year-olds on there. I don't know, but I'm gonna assume most of you that are up at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, you got a job. It's not that you don't have a job. It's that these people, I'm not that important for them to be, going back and forth with all this stuff. I'm not that important on their radar to feel like they need to, no pun intended, to feel like they need to be in my chat for as long. I appreciate the people that do in the Twitter, especially, someone like John. I appreciate it. There's been times where there's been no one in the YouTube chat and there's one person in the Twitter chat, and I was doing some of those reanalysis streams, and it was like or some of those hurricane streams, especially when the YouTube was still coming up, and it was just one person. And one person is enough. Yeah, if you just gotta in interaction try to become. You shouldn't try to force interaction. You shouldn't try to be fake. You just be who you are. If you genuinely have a question, you want to learn about something, you just put it in the chat. It just comes on the fly. You shouldn't like be preparing. How can I get more? So you just gotta, for HG specifically, you just gotta prove yourself. Maybe you never aren't will be a mod, but that's not always important. A mod's not going to mean anything if there's going to be eventually like 8, 9 other people to do the same thing that you could just do at a certain time. Then that's not going to make a difference. If you're just in here to enjoy, I don't need people to come in here to try to become a mod. I don't need people to come in general. If people come in and they just want to learn about the weather that I'm going to talk about and hear my thoughts, that's all I need to do this for. I don't need to do this for any other reason whatsoever. How should I start a weather Twitter? You just make a Twitter account, follow a bunch of people. If you really want to follow, if you want to follow me, you can. Um, but you just make the account just like you would any other Twitter account. And whether or not you want to reveal your name or anything about yourself, you can. It's up to you. And then you just follow a bunch of people, and then the more the comment, the more you learn, the more knowledgeable you come. Eventually other people will follow you too. Yeah, John never tried to become a mod. It's fine. You get 0 interactions, but you know how you comment on stuff. You go. It doesn't need to be just me. There's plenty of other good weather people out there too than me. Then especially that are better than me too at this. I know a good amount, but I don't know the science and math behind all this stuff like other people do. There are a lot smarter people beyond there, and the reason why I'm a good bridge between that gap is because I'm literally a bridge between that gap between enough to understand some of the dynamics and also understand enough for the simple. I learned it simply, and I can simplify it pretty easily, explain my thoughts. But if you were going to follow a person, I would say, well, you can follow John if you want to, because he'll retweet a lot of stuff. But NSFWWX Billy, he does live streams too on Twitter, not YouTube, but Twitter. He's really good. He breaks it down. He doesn't give a damn. He says his thoughts how he wants to, and I will. I don't know. Compared to what I mean, there's a difference. Some people are really knowledgeable. They just don't post a lot. I just post a lot, and I probably have a decent amount of knowledge. There's plenty of people with more knowledge. I'm probably though in that top half though for sure. I would say easily. And I'm probably in that top half of people. because there's a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about, but act like they know what they're talking about. And there's just a lot of people that don't know in general who want to learn. So there's different learning types, and there's different ages too. So it's, it is what it is. He's not that crazy. He's not that crazy. He's a really good weather. He's a really good weather follow. Yeah, that's a comment of the night right there. Uh, ZXVA comment of the night. It's a good point. Yeah, HG, for future reference, if you want to gain more trust with me, if that's important to you, you probably don't. You probably want to stay off the weed before you come in. Yes, he is smarter than I am. There's some stuff that I kind of know that I have to understand better to help display it to you guys that I know what I'm talking about. Like there's some stuff I have to prove a little bit to myself that I know what I'm talking about more. He doesn't have anything. He understands everything from top to bottom really well. And that doesn't mean he's perfect. He's not going to get everything right. No one does. But no one does. That's my point. Uh, but he's really good, really freaking good. I've gotten a lot of my knowledge off him. I've learned a lot of stuff because of him. Um, in the beginning, sometimes I got too connected, got too tried to get too close to his thoughts, but now I have a pretty good understanding to the point where I can separate my thoughts from other people on Twitter, not just him, etc. I just bought weather bill. Yeah, that's a lot of money you just spent if you bought that. Props to you. You don't even have to start posting your own content. You just comment on other you don't want to look like you know something you don't. You generally learn. You just want to genuinely learn from people. You comment, you go into those streams, you learn from people, you learn the atmosphere, you learn different stuff, and the more if you want to learn about this, then you can let that take off naturally. But you don't fake something you don't know. Ask questions. Just ask questions. It's that simple. You have a question about something, there's someone on Twitter. If I'm not going to answer it, someone else will answer it. I promise you. You put on people's notifications. You put them on as soon as the tweet come out. Boom. Then you just you'll get a response. Sometimes you won't get a response. Some people are busy. Some people don't like to respond to their comments too. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. Just some people don't like to respond to a lot of their Twitter stuff. I'm not paying for weather bill. I went over this the other night. I'm not paying for weather bill. It's $270. I can't pay for that. There's a lot of good stuff there on weather bill though. I wish I could have it, but I'm not paying for it. So I already spend enough as it is. It's not a ton, but I spend enough as it is on stuff. I don't need weather bill. Bro, HG, bro, come on, come on, my guy, come on, my guy. You're not doing anything that's really super, super irritating. But I mean, you gotta, like seriously, like you gotta stop. I think you got a little bit too comfortable now that I gave you some leeway, but you there's other people that want information, and you take it away. No, I don't need to. I'm happy. I'm happy with drinking my food and water and juice. I'm I'm happy with what I put in my body. And I don't feel like I need to put any of that stuff in my body. That doesn't satisfy me whatsoever. I don't want to put toxins like that in my body for me personally. All right. I appreciate everyone that came in tonight. Maybe not the note we want to end on the stream on that last part. But that's okay. Uh, we don't want to remember. We don't want to tear people apart. We want to be don't want to be a source of hate. Remember, we just gotta be a little bit better going forward. Okay, guys, we just gotta be a little bit better going forward. Because I explained it. There's gonna be back and forth. There's gonna be that time, and I'm gonna we're gonna talk about it, or I'm not even gonna have to talk about it, or not gonna have the opportunity. There's gonna be that time where there's gonna be a lot of people in both streams. I'm gonna have to go back and forth in questions, and I don't want to have to monitor dumb crap in the YouTube chat. So you just gotta make sure you just gotta be a little bit more respectful for the respect that I show you guys as well. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Those streams are gonna be awesome. I'm telling you. Especially we'll make some of those big snow maps maybe too. Those take a while, so I don't know how much more of those we're gonna do, but I appreciate everyone that came in, and I can't wait. I can't wait for this winter. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that comes in here. All right, peace.